And in conversations with people lately, the word accountability keeps coming up. Now, I get a clear message. Australians want to help each other out. They care about their fellow man, but they also want them to be accountable for their behaviour. Now, you may consider yourself to be your brother's keeper, but that doesn't mean you're to blame for their actions. But that's what the Black Lives Matters movement wants you to believe. If you happen to be white, well then the problems in black communities are your fault, simply because of your skin colour. Well, here's some inconvenient truths. The substance abuse problem in Aboriginal communities are not my fault, and they're not your fault either. Nor are we responsible for the violence, the child abuse, the terrible health outcomes, the lack of education, or the squalor in some of these communities. If we are collectively guilty of something, it's throwing $30 billion a year at a problem, hoping it will go away, while not holding people to account. But as a white man, I'm not supposed to have an opinion on how my taxes are being wasted on futile programs. Apparently, it's all my fault. So perhaps we should listen to some unpleasant truths from those a little more PC than me. Here's Indigenous woman Jacinta Price.
There's a failure, an absolute failure, and a level of denial of the black-on-black violence that is far more prevalent than Indigenous, black deaths in custody, and that a lot of the left-wing media are largely ignoring these facts.
Well, the Black Lives Matter BS running in this country is being imported by a bunch of people who frankly care nothing for the actual problems in Aboriginal communities, or more importantly, how we can solve them. Believe it or not, it suits many of these activists to have continuing systemic failure in outcomes for Aboriginal people. After all, it's a $30 billion per year business, and the money always ends up in someone's pocket. It just seemingly never in the communities where it actually makes a difference. Now, I don't care about the political or identity stripes of anyone prepared to speak truth to the current narrative of victim culture in black communities. I just think it's time we stopped apologising for sins of the past that none of us are responsible for, and we started to have a decent conversation about what's really happening now. Wouldn't it be much better to focus on rectifying the sins of today? And we could start by acknowledging that in many black communities, they aren't being committed by white people. Now, I understand that's a very challenging statement to make, but it also happens to be true. And this is a challenge now for everyone in our community to make a decision about whether we're going to speak truth to try and make a real difference, or we're just going to keep summing it along and mouthing the words that black lives do matter.